So here in a few minutes, Katie's going to do the drawing for this box for last week's giveaway, and that was on those red tags, the red ass, the red butt, the red bud. Hey, Chris, good to see. I haven't seen you hopping on here in a while. Good to see you hopping on. So this is the Umpqua LT Mini, and I think we had a few more, but there's half a dozen flies in here now. I think we've got a few more to add. So you'll get the flies we tied live, as well as a few more and the box. So we'll be doing that giveaway in just a few minutes. And for those of you all that haven't seen it yet, we did a cool review on the Umpqua ZS2 Traveler fly tying kit. Posted it on Monday, I believe. It's pretty cool. What's up, Ben? Mr. Beargrass Leather and Michael Ragsdale, our buddy from Florida. So one of the things that is kind of important on this, and that's wrapping the hackle on this particular fly. What's up, Kay? I'm not sure if that's Ed or not, but what's up, Kay and Christine? Joel, thank you. We had a good time with that kit. We've used it for a couple months now, and the one statement I made on there that might not make any sense is the less materials you bring, the more you'll tie. And for me, the more stuff I get, the more I try to experiment. And next thing you know, I've tied 3 or 4 flies, where if I go and I'm organized and I'm going to tie this fly, I want to tie a bunch of Duracells, and I bring everything for Duracell. I'll tie a couple dozen Duracells in a night and all's good. But if I bring like 5 colors, the next thing you know, I've tied 5 flies. So I just want to demonstrate one thing real quick when it comes to wrapping hackle. I'm going to show the technique that Kelly shows, and the 2 books that we're going to talk about tonight. And if you don't have these, you need to pick these up. Nan, thank you very much. Go Balls. Glad someone noticed already. The 2 books that are just absolutely phenomenal. And I was hesitant a few years ago when I got this one. This is a modern streamers for trophy trout. This one was published in, I believe, 1999. This is an absolutely phenomenal book when it comes to streamer fishing. This has have you always had that rooster? I have always had the rooster. That is, Nan can tell us. Fred. That's right. Fred Hurst. See, Nan knew that's Fred. But the Modern Streamers Trophy Trout, great, awesome book. If you don't have this one, you need to get it. And just for the hay of it, this one retails for $25 from Kelly Galloup shop. So the winner this week, and I sent Kelly a note, and I never heard a reply to see if it was okay. I want to make the assumption it's okay. The winner this week will get a $25 gift certificate to the Slide In, so they can pick up a copy of this. They don't have it, and if you do have it, then it can go towards Modern Streamers for Trout 2. This one is newer. This is a phenomenal book as well. Fred has number 2 on her list. That's number. Yes, the mood lighting. That's the difference, is the mood lighting. We get to change colors every now and then. But this is a newer book. It's got some newer patterns in it. It does have the Peanut Envy in it. And it's really good as well. So to be entered for the drawing next week, tie up your Peanut Envy. You don't have to have the exact materials. Do the best you can. Tie up your Peanut Envy and use hashtag Whip Finish Wednesday. If you feel so inclined, tag the Galloup Slide In. What's up, Joe? Was a freaking sub to your channel. Cool. I'm glad you got on the subscription. So I want to, before we get started tying this fly, I want to show one quick technique, and then we'll let Katie do the drawing for last week's winner. So for next week, for the book, tie up your Peanut Envy, use hashtag Whip Finish Wednesday. Love for you to tag Kelly Galloup in it, but it's not completely necessary. Also, comment on this video, and we'll put you in the hat for the winner. So let's pull over to the close-up camera here to camera one, and I'm going to show you something. We're throughout this this process, we're going to be using Semperfli Nano Silk and 6/0. This is 100 denier thread. I'm just going to start this thread. I didn't have to put this much on because this is just kind of demonstration purposes. So we've got our thread started. Now I've got my Rooster saddle here. This is just a regular old Rooster saddle hackle from a pack of Strung Rooster hackle. No big deal. And we'll talk about different substitutes for this as well. I'm going to take this. I'm just going to pull off just a little bit. So I've exposed just a pinch of stem here. No big deal. Or Katie, did you see Nan's compliment to you?
She said, nice cut to camera one, Katie. Thank you.
Hey, Gary. Gary's at dinner with a buddy right now, and he apologized, and I gave him a hard time because he wasn't able to join us last week. I'm like, dude, that's 2 weeks in a row you didn't jump on. So hello, Gary. Good to see you.
I'm learning new stuff.
Oh my gosh, Katie's got a new microphone coming in, and it's just all sorts of new junk. And now Misha's just walked in to say hello. All right, so when we're tying the Rooster hackle in, you want to hold it straight up and down like so. So it's, oh, there she is. She loves power cables, but not so much Rooster hackles. So that's good. Now she's going to come over to me and say hello. All right. So we'll see if I can do this with a dog sniffing at me. Feeling great, Jimmy. So we're going to hold this stem. So the bare part of the stem right here is going straight up and down. And all these wraps, I'm basically going to be going straight up and down like this with a slight change, back and forth slight. But if you bring your thread forward as I'm doing this, that will cant the feather one way or the other. So this first wrap, I'm going to catch this in and bring it down. So I've got one wrap around that stem. And I will continue to hold the feather straight up and down. Now I'm going to bring my thread slightly to the side. Once I go around that stem, and bring it back to it, up and around like so. So now I've got that fit the X, and my stem is still going straight up and down. Now, one of the things that will happen is your stem will start creeping over towards the opposite side of the tire. Got two beagles. They love hackle and bucktail and everything else. I think Misha's just seen how I'll look at her when she gets close, and she knows she'll get in trouble. So I've got I've got an X wrap right here. If you can see that right there, there's a little X wrap holding that stem in, and it's going straight up. So now what Kelly will do is he'll put two more wraps in and then pull really tight. As you can see that the hackle moved just a pinch, but not much. Let's put a few more in just to make sure it's locked in, and we'll do a half hitch. Now I'm gonna bypass the half hitch because I'm just gonna undo all this. Oh shucks, you guys, I forgot to go live on Instagram. Boom, now we're live on Instagram. Okay, so here's kind of the cool thing. I'm just gonna wrap this by hand. I'm gonna bring this around, and I'm gonna do one full wrap. Okay. And now I'm just gonna wrap. I'm pretending like I've got my body done. Wrap this around with open, and I'm putting more on purpose. I'm really putting a ton of hackle down because this is going to show when I'm wrapping the wire and we're doing stimulators and things. I'll say just pretend like the hackle's not there. If you just pretend like it's not there, it's fine. So you can see how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, really super thick hackle. Oh, you're paying Donna, feather thief cat. Yeah, I've heard cats are actually a lot worse than dogs. Okay, so we've got our thread here at the front, and see how the hackle looks okay. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my thread. Look at all these wraps I'm putting in. I'm not doing anything, wrapping it over. And now I've got thread to the back. Now this is what I would do with my wire. I'd capture, and then I bring it around, over spiral wraps, right back up to the front. And you can see just by pretending like literally there's no hackle there, and just by wrapping straight through it, I really didn't capture much of the fibers. I captured a few, but didn't capture too many of the fibers. And that thing is absolutely bulletproof. Now, that's not how we're going to wrap the, I'm not using thread on the Penny Envy. I was just trying to show when I'm running that wire through, if you'll just wrap it and get it done, then you'll save a lot of time, and you're not on capture as much as if you try to avoid or you're trying to wiggle or whatever. Just tie it in. Don't fret the small stuff.
It's awesome.
You're a rapper or a rapper. I can't know the sound of my. Well, Jeff, I've never been known for my rhythm, that's for sure. But I did do a good job. I think Katie was proud of me for. Was that your present that I wrapped a while back?
You're always proud of your present wrapping abilities.
Well, when I was in college, I was broke, and I always went to the. Here we go. I went to the local fresh market, and I would ask them for butcher paper, and that's what I used for wrapping paper. And I always thought it was kind of cool because it was good stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and get.
Like one time.
I did it like multiple times. So let's go ahead and get started on this fly. Unless Katie, you ready to do the giveaway?
Sure.
Okay, we'll flip it over to Katie real quick and let her do the giveaway then.
Hey everybody, you ready for the giveaway? So this week we're giving away a fly box with.
I'll get this right here with the red tags, red butts, red ass.
Oh, with the red tags, yes. So they don't have it. Oh yeah, they do. Okay. So here it is. This is the Oompa fly box we're giving away. It's the UPGYLT mini fly box from Oompa. It's awesome. If you haven't seen our product review yet on the Oompa bag, check it out. It's on YouTube now. And inside of it, we have some red tags, freshly tied and ready to fish. They smell good. So our winner this week is, let's draw. Misha, you want to pick? Pick one. Okay, I'll just give him one that's wet. All right, at Joel W. House. Congratulations, Joel W. House. You are our winner this week. You're going to receive an awesome Oompa LT mini fly box with red tags inside of it. So send us your address. Thanks for watching. And now we're going to go back to John.
All right, now I'm going to get my thread straightened out here because I decided to try to make it perfect while she was on and ended up making a mess. So, Katie.
By the way, I want to give a special shout out to Greg Linney for the awesome green tea and coffee that he sent us. We haven't tried the coffee yet, but I'm sure it's awesome. And I'm having green tea right now. And it's absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Greg. Good night, mate.
Misha, you are not making this any easier. Not one little bit. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by threading my bobbin that is unthreaded. And that's what I get.
Ha, 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 Chris. You're so funny.
All right. And Joel, I think, is on here, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
So Truman,
I did put sugar in the tea just a little bit.
Truman, Katie is going to give us a website here in just or an email address here in just a few minutes that you need to write down as well as everyone else. I was looking at Mama Angler's post that she did today of a Whip Finish Wednesday fly that I don't think we've shared. I apologize, Mama Angler. And Craig Matthews got on there. So this is a really long story short because I'm being very, you can go back to camera 2 if you like, because I'm being very long-winded before I even start tying this fly. But Craig Matthews, as you all know, phenomenal fly tyer. Really one of the innovators and just been around forever. Phenomenal man. Very, just super awesome guy. He lives out west and he's a bird hunter as well. And he made a note of some ruffed grouse that he has for sale. And I sent him a note. And long story short, it literally, I look at it like a piece of history. I want to say like $20 or $25 for a ruffed grouse. He also hunts partridge and pheasant. And he has different phases of the ruffed grouse. Ben, you've got one of his pheasants. Katie's going to put up in the comments of YouTube the email address to send him an email if you're interested in buying one. And the good thing is even though he's selling them, all the proceeds go to Yellowstone Conservation, I believe. And Ben, you've already got one of his pheasants, and they're amazing. So that is awesome to hear. He sent a few pictures, and they look the grouse looked phenomenal, absolutely just crazy. But to get one of the birds that Craig Matthews shot and has cleaned up, he's stretched and dried, I would highly suggest it. And here in probably a few weeks, we'll have one. We're going to buy a few from him. So he's just one guy, so he doesn't have a whole bunch. But shoot the email address that Katie's looking up a note and get you one of those grouse. There we go. Is C&J@3rivers.com. So does tend to chat a lot, but the man is, yeah, well, Joel, I have been known to chat a lot, but I don't know my business. That's for sure. All right, so we'll go back to the fly. Let's get to time. So we will, let's go to camera one, Katie. Katie is like multitasking like a queen over there. She's got a bunch. So when we start the thread, we're going to leave a little bit of space behind the hook eye. Now, this is something that on a lot of our flies that I harp on, and that's where you start your thread and makes all the difference in the world. That's kind of where we use that as a measuring spot. So right now with the whole body and everything I'm going to tie, nothing's going to go past this because this is the spot that I'm going to tie legs in. And this is where I'm going to tie my marabou in as well. So we're going to bring our thread back to the back. And another thing that Kelly really harps on are proportions. So if you notice where my thread is hanging right now, it is just a pinch in front of the barb. I'm gonna go back and literally one more thread wrap because I want it right there as the barb starts going up, not behind the barb, not in front of the barb, or actually technically in front of the barb, but right in that gouge. If that's where my thread ends up every single time when I'm going back and forth, then I know all my flies are gonna be the same, and also know there's not gonna be a gap with nothing there. So, gosh, which way did I start? Okay, here we go. So we're going to tie a chartreuse and white peanut envy. And what I'm going to do, go to camera 2 or 3, honey. I've got my my marabou feather here, and the hardest part about tying this fly is sorting your marabou. That's what's going to take the most amount of time. And if you notice, this one has a little line right here. And if you'll take, this one came from Charlie Craven, but if you'll take a little brush and just brush it like so, that's going to get rid of most of that stuff. If you ever get it where it's got a little bit of dye still in it, that will brush it out and get it good to go, nice and fluffy. So now we want to strip the sides off. What I'm trying to do is get a nice little plume here and get rid of all the junk down here. So we'll just kind of start stripping this off, and we'll get a nice. That's when we'll look at it. And we'll pull it up. We'll see what we're dealing with. See, I can take a little more off. Now the tail is going to be a stacked tail, so I don't have to worry. And plus, it's the last thing on the fly, so it doesn't have to be super thick or anything. But so now we've got our marabou tail prepped.
Did you say what kind of hook that was?
Oh, thank you, honey.
What kind of hook is it?
So this is a size 4 Daiichi 2460. Yeah, make sure I'm telling you right. Size 4 Daiichi 2460 for the rear hook, and the front hook is going to be a size 1 Daiichi 2460. So there's the two hooks reaching. Thank you, Katie. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I missed Joe. I want to tell about that. Well, tell Bear we said hello, Joe. And I've just lost everyone else's comments after I said that. So this is another thing that Kelly shows, and that's a little spine, just got water in it, and in a fly cup. This thing is, I don't know. I wasn't raised putting this in my mouth, so it's not quite as second nature to Kelly, but it's kind of hard just popping it in your mouth and bringing it out. So not a big. This thing is great doing it this way. And for everyone on Instagram, if you can look us up on Facebook and check it out, you'll be able to see, we'll be able to chat with you a little bit better and everything. So I'll zoom in for you guys so you can see the hook a little better. Okay, so we've got our marabou feather here, And what we're going to do is we're going to measure so it is one hook, the entire hook long. So we look right here. That's what we want. We're going to set it, pinch the hook and the Marabou together, do a loose wrap. I'm going to wrap and do a cross wrap. So I've got 1, 2, 2 wraps. Now I'm going to bring this forward 3. Now we can pull nice and tight. And we've got that Marabou feather tied in. Now we grab the feather itself and pull down. I'm going to pull towards me because I want most of this to go on my side. And that's one thing that we do on our dry flies and our nymphs is we always talk about building that taper. And that's exactly what we're doing here is building the taper. So now I'm going to cut this off. Now we're ready for a little bit of flash. Now, Kelly usually uses Flashabou, which is totally cool. Obviously works great. I didn't have any nice clear Flashabou that I thought would go well with this Chartreuse and white. So we're going to use this SemperFlash. This is a Mirage mirror SemperFlash. It's a little bit, the thickness is a little bit thicker than the Flashabou, but it's much thinner than the saltwater Flashabou. So I'm going to get just one piece. So you can see I've got one piece of little Paul. We're tying the peanut envy. And if you're able to, look us up on Facebook because we're live there as well. And you can see quite a bit better on Facebook or on, did I say Facebook? On YouTube. So I just put the pieces together, turned that one piece of flash into 2. And if you're using Flashabou, I'd probably use 3. I think Kelly says 3 to 4. But since this is a little bit wider than normal Flashabou, I like to just use 2. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 kind of loose wraps. I'm going to take the flash, make sure it's positioned kind of where I want it. I'm going to look at the length. So you can pinch everything and pull this until till the tail and that flash are the same length. I will start locking it in, pulling this back. Now we've got our flash tied in. Let me cut this to the same length as the other one, just like so. So we've got that stacked in there. We're working on the stack right there. What's 9 years old, honey? I missed it. Oh, Bear.
I love ages 8, 9, 10. It's just such a great age.
All right, so now we're going to get our Chartreuse. Yes, John Christopher is 10, and he is phenomenal.
I want him to stay 10 forever.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got our second one. Let's go back to camera 3. I've got our second Chartreuse feather here. So we do the same thing, just kind of wet it down. And the reason we wet it is because it's much easier now for me to check the length of it, so it's just right. Now I can, as you can see right here, I can measure up the. Let's go back to camera 1, honey. As you can see right here, I can measure up the length of the bottom tail just tied in, and that Chartreuse one on top. So the same thing, a pinch, and see where my thread's hanging, right where it's supposed to. We'll do one wrap, pull tight, cross it over, and now back. So I've got 3 wraps on there, got my tail tied in. Now this one I'm gonna go have it roll over to the far side. And when you leave it on a stem like this, it's much easier to control versus stripping it off the side. Here we go, I'll pull tight. And I'll cut that off. And now we're going to tie the wire in. And as you would figure, I've always got something that I forget to lay out. And there it is. So I'm going to use the 0.3 millimeter silver wire on this pattern. This is from Semperfli, 0.3 millimeter. If you're using UTC, you can use UTC brassy, and I like pulling off roughly 7 inches. It's about all I need for both the excuse you, Misha.
Excuse you, Misha.
So I can wrap both the hackles in. So see, Gary, thank you, Truman and Jeff and Joe for keeping up with Gary. So I'm just going to set it right on top. We'll lock in the few wraps, and I'll take the All right, let's go back to camera 1, please. And I'll take the tag here and bring it back. So we're just kind of, and if I left it a little bit long, then you just cut it off. This goes back to Kelly talking about the taper. So I've made like a little loop right here that's going to help it not pull out. So I got that tied in. I'm going to take the wire and bring it all the way down. I don't like to bring the wire around. I want it to be right where it is here, because if it's in the Marabou, when I go to wrap it around, then it grabs onto the Marabou. So I want it coming out on the far side and the bottom of the hook. That makes sense. So now we're going to do a dubbing loop. It's about 6 inches of the thread or so. So do a loop like this, bring it up, capture it in. As you can see, we've got this loop ready to open and close. And we'll get Nan's favorite dubbing spinner right here. We'll leave it open, just don't have to pick it out. And we'll grab some dubbing. And I'm going to use the UV Ice Dub Pearl. And if I'm going too quick, I feel like I talked way too much at the beginning. Feel free to ask any questions or tell me what I'm forgetting. Because since Gary's off, I don't have anyone that's going to tell me what I forgot. All right, so I've got my clump of dubbing here. Now, and I was thinking about doing this on the like pre-show as well, because I got a little too much. Because this is so cool. And it's easy for me to show on these big loops, on big flies and small flies, but dubbing loops really are super simple. So I just have a chunk of dubbing. I carded it to kind of align the fibers, but you don't have to do that. Just get it in the loop, okay? So you can see we've got a big mess of dubbing in the loop here. Now I'm gonna put my fingers right here. I'm gonna slide it all the way up to the top, and then I'm gonna start stretching it down. So what we're trying to do is build a little bit of a taper in there. And I want it to go all the way. So I've got more dubbing here than I do up in the front. Now, let's not spend much time on it. Let's go ahead and just twist it up and we'll look at it. Just give it a quick little look and see. And that actually turned out fine the first time. It looks kind of fuzzy right here. So we'll twist up more. That was amazing. I usually have to fix it a little bit. So what we want is it to be thinner here and get thicker as it goes up. So as you can see, it's thin and up here it gets a little bit thicker. If it's not, like there's a little bit of a big spot here that on the camera looks a lot bigger than it is, I can undo it a little bit and grab it and just kind of slide it back towards me, kind of work on that loop. And it's that easy to fix your loop. So super easy, no big deal. And I'm going to hopefully have that sit there, not untwist. Throw a half hitch in here. Got that in. Now let's wrap our dubbing up. So we want to make sure we go all the way to the back, cover up every little bit. Do one full wrap. And one other thing Kelly is huge on, and that's pulling your materials. Pinch the tail. So I'm holding the tail and the hook shank, pulling really tight. And that just keeps it from spinning everything over. Once you get 3 or 4 wraps in, we'll pull it tight again. Now we'll pull it tight again. And we got it. So as you can see, although that looks like a mess right now, the core of it, maybe it looks like a mess is because we've got so much light on it, but the core of it has a nice taper to it. That's what we're looking for. So now and there might be 1 wrap too much. So I'm gonna pull this off, go to here, do 3 wraps, kind of work my way forward. Then I'll undo that, pull everything back, lock that in place real nice. All right, so you remember what we did on the hackle feather before. So I'm gonna grab my Rooster hackle here, Rooster saddle. Now, as far as depending on what colors you're using, what you're doing. One of the places I really like to get these saddle hackles from, if this is not a saddle at all, but are your capes. So we all love our Rooster capes. And this is we're getting stuff from up here. We're making dry flies. It's super nice. I don't have the other one sitting out right now. But we rarely have a use other than for tailing for these larger feathers here at the bottom. And if you'll use these, especially the ones on the side, these make great great hackles for this application. You'll fill in for Gary. Thank you, Jeff, for filling in. You can.
Jeff has got it.
I mean, I need all the support I can get. But using these feathers here that are a lot bigger, you're really not using them for anything else. They look and function great. Then all of a sudden you've opened up a big plethora of feathers to choose from. So I'm going to cord up my thread just a pinch, bring it back to where it starts there. I'm going to take my feather. I'm just going to cut off all but just a little bit of it. Okay. And just like Kelly does, I'm going to leave a little bit of this fluff here. Let's see how much it is. Yeah, it's about right. I'm going to hold it straight up and down on my side of the hook shank. Just twist it up. Bring it up and down. Make sure it stays on my side. I'm going to bring it around and back. 1, 2. Pull it tight. And I'm going to put a half hitch in because this is nano silk. It is slippery, super strong, doesn't stretch, but it does have a bit of a slip to it. Like a good set of briefs. Great. Yes, Jeffrey, you are for sure. All right, so here's my first wrap. See that fluff coming off? I'm gonna bring it around one more time until I get to actual barbules. And I'm just gonna bring it back. Now, if I need to grab hackle pliers, I will. I don't want it that close. But right now I'm just looking at keeping the wraps even and straight in. And where do they go? Here we go. Throw them on, throw the hackle pliers on so I can see a little bit better. And so you can see too. All right. So we've got the hackle wrapped in. I'm gonna grab my wire. And remember, we tied it on the bottom of your side of the hook shank. So I'm grabbing it, bring it underneath everything, and then I cross that hackle off. So I've now I'm not holding on to it. My hackle pliers, the wire is holding it on. I hope I didn't forget something already, Jeff, but I will probably forget something. And then just like we did with that thread, we'll hold it this angle, and then I'm just going to bring the wire up like this. Pull everything back. Move my bottom cradle out of the way. Put 3 wraps in. Pull it tight. And we'll helicopter it off. Now we'll pull everything back, clear off my little runway for all my materials that I've got left to tie. So that one's a little thick, but hey, we're doing fine. It's got the nice little flowiness there. This is going to be a white dreamsicle. All right, pull it back a little bit more because I want to get a nice flat spot for the legs. Probably wrap that a little bit too far. It's okay. All right, so the legs I'm going to use are going to be the Hareline Crazy Barred Crazy Legs White Pearl Flake. Yes, Joe, you should have seen. You got to start hopping on more often when Gary's on, because he has a way about him, and I have been known to forget something once or twice per show. All right, so same way we did the hackle stem, straight up and down, bring it straight over. Now with that first wrap in there, here's where I'm going to see if I've got the legs lined up. What I mean by lined up is same length on both sides. And then I grab making sure I bring the thread back and not forward. I grab the thread, bring it up, and I'm going to cross them like so. And then I grab the legs again and pull them up, pull them back. Because right now I'm verging on crowding the hook eye, which I don't want to do. Bring this, make sure my legs are looking good. Pull me back, and I'll pull tight. Because what I did is I pulled two, I did a figure 8 on top, a little cross wrap on top, did 2 wraps behind the hook eye, pulled tight, and now these legs aren't going anywhere. They're looking pretty good. My only worry is I didn't leave quite enough space behind the eye, but I can blame that on Gary not being here. All right, so now we're going to get our Chartreuse Marabou feather right here, and I just now stripped the bottom off. So this one's not going to be super thick, but as you can see, when it's dry, it's going to be a little bit fuller than the one in the back. I've got another one picked here. It's going to be even fuller than that one for the front. So I grab that, a couple runs through here, so we've got it nice and clean and straight. Now I'm going to set it on to where it's going to go. Kelly says 1/3 to 1/2, and I like it to go 1/2. So it's when I do it to where it reaches a 1/3 into the tail. For me, it doesn't seem quite long enough. So if I had a really full Marabou feather, it probably would. But in this case, I like for it to go right to about 1/2. Grab this, put my finger down to hold it down, cord up my thread just because I want it to.
Somebody must have really organized your Marabou feathers for you today.
Someone did. I wonder who that could be.
I don't know.
All right. So
that is looking snazzy, Truman. It's looking snazzy.
Something's looking snazzy. All right. So, as I said, I got a little carried away with the head, so I'm going to try to clean it up so I don't have to undo anything. I think we'll be good. Get our nice head here. Almost purdy again. Be good enough for government work for now. So now we're going to just whip finish, and we'll put some some glue on it. Plug it. My nose. Yes, it has a way to do that. 4, 5. All right, so that is very much crowded, but we can get the wire through it, so we're good for now. I'm going to take some Sally Hansen's here. And put a shot on there all around. It's looking fine. I swear this getting the needle back in that Sally Hansen is going to be a pain. Okay, so we got that done. I'm going to let that sit there and marinate just for a second. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to grab my articulation wire. So this is going to be the Surflon. Like that all, yeah, there you go. The Surflon 17 pound. So this is the 19 strand wire. Pulled off. I'm going to pull off.
Is that a swordfish on the cover?
Surf, honey, surf. This is like the shark wire that we bought that one time, but it was like 1,000 pound. So I'm going to measure out on my little measuring tape 4.5 inches. That's how much I need. 4.5 inches. So I'll cut that off, and I'm going to pull off a, we'll go ahead and stick this in here. Just like so. So if you want to go back to camera 3, so we've got the rear section of the fly done on the articulation wire. And now I'm going to I'm getting one of these beads, just a large Tyers bead, it's glass bead. This is Silverline silver. We'll just stick it on here and we'll set it down for a second. So line up the ends and pulling it down.
Oh, Jeff says he's already missing fishing
like
with
that.
us.
Well, I hope you haven't just now started missing fish, because last time you were up here, I was missing it. We didn't get to fish, and that was been a few months ago.
Well, I just told him to come back.
Katie and I found some awesome places in Virginia.
We did. We found some new fishing spots.
Yep, we had a blast. We'll probably post a little video of Katie killing it the other day. I caught my first double on a Euro rod. So I caught 2 fish, 1 cast, both my flies hooked up on a Euro rod.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. So now I'm going to pull off this size 1 2460 Daiichi hook, and I'm going to get a large white brass cone head. Stick it on here. And I see those on Instagram too, man. You're doubling up.
He says he's commenting on his phone and watching on TV.
All right, so we'll throw this on here. So we've got our, and that's what we tried beforehand. We're measuring up the monitor to make sure you can see well. So we've got our size 1 Daiichi 2460 with a large white brass cone head on it, and we'll throw some thread on here. Just bring it back. Awesome water here in Virginia. Jimmy, why did I not know you were in Virginia? Whereabouts in Virginia are you, Jimmy? I thought you were a little more out west.
Jimmy, we are starting to explore Virginia, and we're liking it a lot.
All right, so all I'm doing is putting a couple layers, just down, back, of thread. And I'm going to look at my same thing I did before. See, that's a little bit far back, a little far forward. So right about there is where I want it. So I've got my thread coming down right where I want it. I'm going to pull out my rear section of the hook. I'm going to make sure that my wire is not twisted, and it's not. Pinch it. I'm just going to put 3 or 4 wraps in. Now, the thing that I want everyone to look at and see is where I'm tying the wire in. So if you can see better on this angle, I'm tying it on the side because my loop is going to be straight up and down. See how I loop straight up and down? And on this Daiichi, the hook is horizontal. The eye, excuse me, is horizontal. If I had a fly with a vertical hook, or if I had a rear hook with a vertical eye, I could have my wire on top and have my loop horizontal. But because my hook is this way, my loop needs to be vertical. Now, is that 100% like without a doubt the way you have to do it? I see people doing it all the time, just tying it on top. And will it catch fish? Obviously it does. But to get everything to ride as smooth and as seamless as possible without trying to overcome anything, tying it in right the first time is important. So anyway, that's why I'm tying the wire in on the side of the hook shank. And as far as when you watch Kelly and how he ties it, he will pull this back and forth and pull it until the bead just touches the back of the hook shank, and you've got roughly a bead a bead gap here, and then that's the distance you want. So now I'm going to just bring my thread back up. It doesn't have to be quite yet. It doesn't have to be super tight wraps because we're trying to get everything lashed down. I'll take our wire cutters, and remember I did 4.5 inches of wire, so I have roughly maybe 1.5 inches, but each piece is probably 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch long. So maybe 2 inches total of waste. So I probably could have gotten by with 4 inches to 3.5 inches, but I need some extra to hold on to. So I'm going to bring this like so. And now I'm going to cord up my thread. I like cording up the thread because it bites into the wire a little better. If we're filming and fishing, Virginia is high on the list. Well, let us know. Been a white top, but it's on my bucket list. So are you more central Virginia or western Virginia or eastern Virginia? Because I know surely you're not West Virginia. All right, so now I'm going to bring this around and hold on to the hook shank and really get a good layer of tight, super tight thread wraps. I want to make sure I'm holding my finger here to keep the wire from rotating around to the top of the hook. So these are super tight as we can go. I'll do one more here, really tight. I'm gonna go back up to the front with tight wraps. Like this, and I'm gonna get what you never see me use on here, and that's a little zap. So just put a little bit on here, mainly focus on the back. And now I'm going to uncord my thread just a touch and just do more medium. I'm really working that super glue in one and kind of working around the hook shank. And then we'll reach in, grab one of my hackle feathers I cut off, and just use that to dry up any of the leftover glue. Just like that. So now we're good to go. Now that's ready to rock and roll. Okay, so for the cover, and all the cover is a little bit of Marabou or whatever to cover up the bead here. And so we're just going to put a little bit of Marabou right here. And what you can use is woolly bugger Marabou, or on these, let's see, this one's going to be long enough. Not quite. So let me grab, just because I was so prepared today, and I know I had it sitting right out. Of course, here's the box that should be in. Here we go. All right, so I'm just going to use some woolly bugger Marabou here. Bam. Open this up. So what we're trying to do, and the reason we want the woolly bugger Marabou as opposed to regular Marabou, is this right here. When we get one of them off, one that's not completely destroyed. This might take a second. Yeah, that'll work fine. Okay. So now you can see these fibers are quite a bit shorter than a regular Marabou feather. So you can see how regular versus woolly bugger. And all we want to do is pull off, it's probably 3/4 of an inch or so, like so. Pinch the butt ends, then cut them off. So I got this little tuft here. Now we're going to go right here to the back to the hook, and then we'll measure and we'll look and see how far back that's going into the cover. And you know, about halfway is fine. So I just set it there, put a loose wrap, and I'm kind of working it around a little bit. And I could have cut a little bit more of that feather off. So now I've got that in there, the one side of the cover in. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Pull this off, pinch the butt ends, cut them off. Now I got a little bit of a cover here. Make sure they're roughly the same length. Bring our thread back to our original spot. And make sure that's going to roll up into the other one. Now, what I did on the brown one that we posted today, I thought was kind of cool, is I did 3 stacks. So I had the side stacks in tan, and the top one, and I was still not doing it on this one, but just because I've probably already been going way too long, we'll leave it at this, but putting a smaller stack of Chartreuse right here in the middle, and you're good to go. So we've got our cover here, and that looks fine. Now we're going to put our piece of wire. So this is left over from what we did before. So we'll just put it, bring it up, capture it in, fold it over. Then we're going to do the same thing. We'll bring it down so that wire is tied in on the underside of the far side of the hook shank. We're going to make our same dubbing loop around. Todd had intensive vision near there last weekend. Ended up working on the rod instead.
Yeah, I was telling him that we were kind of mirror the
Bullerfish hatchery is like around that area,
Yep.
right?
Well, we were in Damascus earlier, and then we went to somewhere around there, and then we went. I can't remember the name of the other road we fished on, but yes, we're up there in Virginia for sure, up in southwest Virginia.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, so let's get the ice dye back out. Exact same color. Now I'm going to just same thing I did before, kind of align it, make sure I don't get too much like I did the first time. Align it, stick it in our dubbing loop, start stretching it out. This is probably too much, so I'll pull a little more of that out. I got dubbing going everywhere. Now we'll slide it around. We're wanting to kind of roughly get our taper built to start with. I'm going to have to move this around once I spin it, but like I was saying, that's kind of the fun thing about the dubbing loop. Is I can get it done and twist it up and look at it and see where I need to make adjustments. And actually, that looked pretty good. Keep on spinning it. Yep. So I've got a nice little, you can see a nice little taper there. Another quick spin. I'll hang this off here just for a second. Do a half hitch. Now, as you saw earlier, I did crowd the hook eye on the rear hook just a bit. So this time we want to make sure you leave a gap on between your thread, between your dubbing and the bead, because this is where we're going to be tying Hackle in, we're tying our legs in, tying a Marabou in, and we got to put a collar in as well. So quite a bit of stuff. Don't crowd this. So we will pull this around. Make sure our Marabou's not in the way. We're not trapturing our Marabou. So now we got one full wrap in here. Grab the Marabou, pull tight, and now we'll just start working it up. After 3, 4, 5 wraps, pull tight again. And then you just kind of really let her rip. So that's going to be enough. I want to leave it kind of long. Yeah, that'll be good right there. I'd rather leave a little bit too much of a gap. So I'll do a couple wraps here. As you can see, I did way too much dubbing on that one. Most of my taper is still in the dubbing. But the cool thing about this is now I can undo it and cut it. Now I can take my dubbing and pull it off. See, I've got this bit of dubbing that I just used and put it back in the bag and use it next time. So I'm just using what, there we go, just like that. So there's a slight taper, not much. Like I said, most of my taper was in the part I just cut off, but that's okay. We've got our wire in there, and now we're ready for another Rooster saddle feather. I think this will be on YouTube. Great conversation. Yeah, Joe, it's hard. If you can imagine, Katie's ever watching the monitor over there with YouTube and changing the camera angle. She's super busy on her side. But on YouTube, on Instagram, it's just me looking at you right here. See, that's all there is. It's just little old me, and I'm kind of tying and trying to pay attention. All right, so we got our 2 wraps in here. Put 1, 2, pull tight. Now we'll do our half hitch. Just make sure it doesn't slide out. And we'll pull it up. So bring this around, do full wrap, pull tight again. Now I'll start bringing it back. And it helps to hold your tongue out just a little bit in an angle. That'll help you get better, better hackle wraps here.
We better stick it out.
Now it's out. So now we're going to wire. Make sure I'm not capturing any of the hackle. Grab my wire, lock that in, and now just bring it up like this. If you notice, you do have some. You can kind of work these out a little bit before you wrap. Just bring it up. And if you all weren't in on the beginning part of YouTube, then come over and check that out after we post the video, and you'll see the little trick that, not trick, but a little hackle wrapping demonstration about how to wrap hackle and not capture too much stuff. Pull this tight, we'll helicopter this off, and we're good. So we've got this done. We'll pull everything back just a little bit, because really all we have to do now is throw some more legs on and Marabou and a little more dubbing, and we'll be done. So let's go back to our legs. I've got these 3 right here ready to go. This is the same, the exact same, exact same legs we had before, except I'm going to use 3 of them. I'm going to have my thread right here, right by the dubbing, or right by the hackle. So it is right here. I don't want it in the middle. I don't want it close to the cone head. I want it right here by the back. So that way, when I take my first wrap and set it right here, I can bring it straight back here. So that's a straight wrap, if that makes sense. I'm going to straighten them out because I want the legs to be even. Now I'll bring my thread back and up with no pressure, and then down. All this with virtually no pressure. So now there's an X wrap right here on top. I just kind of look at everything, make sure it's good. Take it, I go and like to pull it back as far as I can, as far as it'll let me. Make sure I've got enough room. Put 2 wraps, pull tight. And we'll do a few more locking wraps just to make sure everything's nice and straight back in there. So now we've got our our 3 legs on each side. We're looking good now. Looking good. So now I've got my other our nice full, pretty Marabou feather. So I'm going to strip off some of the bottom parts. And really, when I'm stripping this off, I want to pull it right here and get it to where I'm looking at these bottom fibers, so you can see how far up they go. And it's fine if they don't, like, if it's not perfectly straight here, but you don't want these bottom fibers to be coming to about here. You want them to be all the way up. So right about here where my thumb is where those bottom fibers are coming. So that's going to be a nice fluffy plume there for our front piece. And if you don't have, if you can't find one really good one, then you can definitely put 2 in, no problem. So we've got our Marabou feather here. I'm going to look and see where my thread is, because I definitely want this to go right behind the legs. I'm going to measure. And same thing as the tail. I want this to go roughly halfway into the into my front wing here. So about like that. Not quite as long, about here. Usually you can have it just be the same length as your cover, and that'll be just fine. So now I've got this, I'm pinching it, I'm holding it down with my pointer finger, and I'm pinching the hook shank with my thumb and my middle finger. I'm going to go a loose wrap, 2, 3, pull tight. And I got this one tied in. I'll get in here cut that out. Oh, there we go. So now we're going to go bring this around. And we are ready to rock and roll now. Just like this. So one of the things that I'm probably going to eliminate this step on some of the flies that I was tying. I didn't have the after shaft, or not the after shaft, but that little bit of fluff on the first couple wraps. So this was just a real clean hackle. So what I would do, and it looks like on a lot of the commercial tied flies, they'll put some of this Marabou here. So I'll just put this like this, pinch it down, bring it around like this. Make sure I don't have my there we go. So I wasn't going to do it, but I did it anyway. So that just gives a little bit of additional fluff right here. Now that was probably half a dozen, like literally, here's my, that same woolly bugger Marabou, and it was probably half a dozen of these fibers. Gosh, get it on the screen right here. So it wasn't much at all, probably about that much. Once it gets wet, it's going to go away to virtually nothing. We've got that, got it in there, locked down. It's looking nice. And one of the tricks that I forgot to show, go and do that, is if you get a straw, cut it down. This is another one. This is a phenomenal one from Kelly. And now we put that on there. It keeps everything. And usually I've got the back tied down, but I use my clip on the my vise to hold the back down. But that'll keep your legs and stuff out of the way. So now we can just do a quick little hard on the arms for sure. Pull out that same dubbing that we recycled just a second ago. And if you want to do this in dubbing loop, you can. The one thing about doing it and doing this in general is you're going to use a lot more dubbing than you think you'll use, because once it gets started right here, it's going to start going underneath the bead, underneath that cone head. See all that dubbing? And it's almost all the way gone, because what we're doing is we're kind of filling in this cone head so it's not going to wobble around. So all that dubbing is basically gone. You just want to look and see what you got underneath, and that's honestly almost looking fine. I'm going to put just a little bit more on here. Just kind of fill this gap up here. Then we'll be able to cut legs and be done with this fly. See, you guys are like, man, yeah, Kelly does talk too much. Well, shoot, he did this one like 30 minutes, and I'm on like an hour. But guys, look at the message on YouTube and find that where Katie put the. Let's get some Sally Hansons real quick and whip finish this thing, and then we'll put some super glue, cut the thread, and then be done. But those birds, the grouse from Craig Matthews, find that email address, and you've got an opportunity to get some really good birds to tie with that Craig Matthews shot, and that is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So you see I whip finished and put okay, Katie has there was if that'll come up just like so. And then I'm going to just take my thread. I'm going to wrap, and we'll do one more. I'm going to pull tight, pull really tight, and then we'll cut my thread. That super glue is really all you need to do. Oh, come on, jerk. Here we go. All right. So we've got this done. So that one picture that Katie put up there, did you all see that? Pin the email address. Okay, cool.
I pinned the information at the top of the comments, and here are the grouse images that he sent to us.
and there's another one that has different phases. So do you remember what it said each one was? I can't honestly.
Yeah, I
can't remember.
typed it in the comments. Yeah.
So these are birds that Craig Matthews has shot. Roughly, I can't remember if he said they're $20 a piece. I think it was $20 and plus $5 for shipping. But the proceeds go to a Yellowstone conservation. So he's not selling to make money. He's doing it for to raise money for conservation. Later on, he does later in the year, he'll do pheasant and partridge as well. So lots of different things that are pretty darn awesome. So we're going to order a couple more. We're going to order a couple birds here in just a little while from him. So check that out. If for no other reason, having a bird that Craig Matthews shot would be stinking amazing. So we'll go back to the what are we tying, honey? Peanut envy.
Peanut envy.
Get back to the peanut envy. I'll take my brush. It's a little wet. The front wing's a little wet right now, which is fine, but it'll dry. We've got our nice taper. This front wing might be a shade on the long side, but I'm going to take my my front legs, pull them down. They're pretty much lined up, so I'm just going to basically cut the tabs off of them, and that'll be good for the front ones. Gosh, I can't even get a hold of them. It'd help if I put my glasses back on, right, honey?
It would, maybe.
All right, so we've got our front legs cut. The back ones, we want the back legs to be the same length as the tail. So just find the spot. Don't pull it. Don't pull the leg. Get into the tail. So now we've got everything all done. As you can see, this is really nice and fluffy. Just one Marabou feather in the front, one right here with a little bit of see, Jeff. Is Jeff Rowley on here?
He was.
Jeff, you messed up. Check this out.
What'd you
on
forget?
Camera one. Dude, this is terrible.
You forgot that. Yep. There you go.
Jeff, if that was Gary, he'd be like, buddy, you forgot something. Now we're looking better. Good grief. So let's go back over to camera 3 and we'll show this thing off.
So
not quite as zoomed in.
In my dream, I caught a striper with it.
So now it's time for Katie to get back on and tell her, is Truman still on? Okay.
Truman,
thank you, Truman, for telling me to cut the hackle. And Jeff, you messed up. You're fired. I totally wrapped the hackle and did a phenomenal job, as I told myself anyway. And I forgot to cut the hackle off. Doggone. Terrible. So as you can see,
embarrassing.
We've got a nice little movement here. This thing, and the main reason that I started tying this color combination, and as we've shown, we've got the olive here, works great. The brown and tan, this is a nice one, and the black. But here for smallmouth bass anyway, chartreuse and white clousers work phenomenally well. So I was like, well, why not chartreuse and white peanut envy? So Truman, since you're still here, yeah, Truman, this one I did fish earlier. I want you to listen to the story that Katie...
Hold up the olive one.
Hold up the olive one. Like this?
Yep. So that's the one that I caught a striper on this one.
This is her dream.
My dream.
So tell us the story. 2
nights ago, I had a dream that Truman and John and I went fishing. Now remember, this is a dream. On Douglas Lake, which is not something I normally do. I don't think we've ever fly fished on Douglas Lake. But anyway, we were fly fishing on Douglas Lake, and all the water was gone because it was the time of year where they let all the water out, except for like these deep pools. And Truman heard that there were stripers in the deep pools, so we decided to try out the peanut envy for stripers. And while John and Truman were talking over on the side, like there on the bank, I tossed this in, and I caught a giant striper, and it was so big that it like actually could get to me. It was like biting me. It had really sharp teeth. And Truman was like, you got to get above it.
Even though they don't have big sharp teeth.
They don't. He was like, climb up on a rock. You got to get above it. That's the only way you can keep it from biting you. So anyway, that was my dream. I caught a striper on the Peanut Envy.
And Truman was there.
And Truman was there. He was like yelling across the lake, like giving me advice. He's like, you got to get above it.
Yeah.
So thanks, Truman, for the advice.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
First thing she said was the other day was like, I had a dream about you and Truman last night. I'm like, dude, you better careful.
He was like, this better be back fishing.
So someone asked, I can't remember what it was, what rod weight that we're going to fish this on. We're going to fish this on a 6-weight and a 7-weight. And the only reason we're not fishing on 2 6-weights is because I just have one 6-weight and one 7-weight. So I've just got a new 6-weight. And I put 210 grain line from Scientific Angler. And the 7-weight will have 250 grain line, sink tips. But because this one doesn't have, this one's not like a clouser that you'll want to throw. Because I've caught fish on a floating line on a clouser, just a long leader, and let the weight of the eyes drop it down and kind of swim it down, and then let it go down and pop it up. So you're stripping, and it pops up. This, the weight and getting it down is coming from the line. So this is where, guys, I'm telling you, if you don't have this book right here, get it. This is like, this talks about that type of thing, about the line weights, your leader lengths, how to get flies like this down and how to fish them, where to go for them. So if you want to win a $25 gift card that we're going to put up for Kelly's Place to slide in, use hashtag Whitfinish Wednesday. And we would love for you guys to tag Kelly Galloup and shoot him notes and everything. But tie up as best you can your variation of the Peanut Envy. You don't have to worry about having the right hooks to write all the materials and everything. Just tie something up Peanut Envy-ish. I use hashtag Whitfinish Wednesday. That'll get in for the drawing also. And this is especially if like you're like, I don't have any streamer hooks. I just tie midges. Comment on the video after we've posted it, whether you liked it, whether you're looking forward to tying it. Kelly Galloup's the man. John, you can't tie a fly worth a flip, whatever you want to. And that will put you in the hat to win next time as well. JB Flyfish on Instagram. Thank you so much.
And if you guys are interested in possibly picking up some gorgeous brown and gray phased grouse skins, and he has a few dusky grouse skins, I tagged at the top Craig Matthews' email address. And one last time, here are pictures of the ones that he sent to us. Just beautiful skins there. So there they are.
So awesome. I would go as far as that, Joe. I would look at the main ones that he has in his book here, and the commercial patterns. He's got a yellow. The olive is Kelly's like number one go-to, and the brown and tan. These are his. I think this was like 1 and 2. But personally, depending on the conditions, I think having a black and a white is important. But if I was, for me, and that'd be good. I wish Kelly was on here to answer. He forgot to cut the Hackle. Hey, that's the only thing I did wrong this time. We're doing good, Truman. But I think if you're just going to if I was just going to have one color to fish, it'd be this olive one. And it's just the olive Marabou, ice dub, and just regular olive, and same hooks and everything. So this one, just good all around one. And this is one Katie caught her striper on in her dream. So there you go.
Yep.
So guys, we're gone way longer than normal. We look forward to seeing your all's flies. Between now and next Wednesday night, we'll draw a winner then. Congratulations to Joel. Is that who won this week?
Yes, Joel W. House.
Congratulations.
He was on here.
Yep. So he'll be getting with us, and we'll send him a little care package.
Did you answer the question about what weight rod and line?
Yep. So we're preferably, and I could be completely wrong. You said, what am I going to use? It's a 210 grain line from Scientific Angler. I know Kelly Galloup likes the Rio lines. Not Rio. What's the brand? I'm having it's a shovel head line. It's a type. I can't remember the brand. But 210 grain on a 6 weight is going to be perfect for this, in my mind.
Airflow.
So airflow line, the airflow shovel head is what he's throwing. So, guys, thank you so much. Comment on the video if you didn't see the review for the Umpqua ZS2 fly tying traveler's kit. Check it out. It's posted and up there. We'd love to see what you think about that. And we will thank you, everyone who said airflow. See, I'm not totally crazy, but I will turn it over to Katie, let her say goodbye. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you later.
Thanks, everybody. I hope you guys catch lots of fish in your dreams, just like me, and in real life. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye on Instagram. See you guys.